Well, there was one more thing to do, and that was to set the resistor network, which you can see in front of you there, on the variable speed or variable intermittent wipers intermittent. I've set this up now to a 6 position switch. Off is one of the positions, so and then there's 5 clicks, that makes 6 total settings, varied between 3 seconds and 30 seconds, so it's increments there when you turn that. Obviously this shaft cuts down and you get it to suit. It's going to fit on the near the ignition on the steering column. We'll find a place for this, plenty of cable on it for us to work it out. We'll be cutting the cable and putting a quick joiner on it, a quick connector on it, so that you can take the shroud ignition column centre shroud away if you have to get to anything and strip the car down. This will just unplug. Same with the immobiliser key, and there's a couple of other things on the shroud which need to be disconnected on a quick connector, so we'll do that. Just used a bank of different resistors. These are all different values, so by changing the values and letting them switch in, it changes the timing of the intermittent delay. The intermittent delay control box is built into the automated wash wipe main control box, which is there at module M4. It just plugs in at the side here. That's the input for it from the selector for the time interval. So that can unplug, that main plug comes off, and this box is velcroed on. It comes out if you need to look at it. Hopefully we won't ever have to. So because that's done, I don't want to have this sort of exposed like that in the shroud. I'm going to use some pt2 in this case. I hope I spelt that right. I hope I pronounced that right. No, I didn't. pt2. It's tough stuff, and it's good for locking in something like this where you want to seal it for life really. So we're just going to wrap a little bit of tape around it and make a sort of encapsulated system there. We're going to hold it in the helping hand grip and then feed the pt2 into here so it locks the cable and it's all solid, because there's no need to ever need to get to that now. That's sealed for life. I just didn't want those behind the back of the cowling all sticking out like that. I want to make a nice sealed unit, so I'll do that now and it's done. I've had a quick tidy up. I'll step back so you can get some perspective on the workshop. So a tidy up of the bench again, and then some clear space on the floor again now, so we can work neat. And then of course I'll take you through before we do close. I've said I'm going to close and then it reopens again, doesn't it? And you keep thinking, what's that delay? And then he's back. I'll take you through a full systems check of everything running as much as I can. All electrics as much as I can before we close, and at least you've got it then. Your auto lights, fog light here. We know about this, we just went through it, but yeah, you can hear that clicking away. That's the, I'll just walk round, that is the intermittent that's on. Let's take it right down to 2-3 seconds, whatever it was. We'll count the clicks. 1 and 2 and 3 seconds, and then it goes all the way up to 30 with intermittents between. I think it's 3, 8, 12, 18 and 30, or 3, 6, 8, 12, 18 and 30, something like that. That'll do us fine. I'll mix this pt2 up and seal the unit in, and it's done. These resistors are now done. We can put them away. They go in our little handy resistor box. If you're ever going to do electronics, get yourself one of these set of resistor packs, because then you get a nice range. You don't have to individually order. It can be a pain individually ordering resistors. These little boxes make life really simple. You just get a nice selection of all your basic values, as low down as I think 10 ohms all the way up to 1 meg. So that's a great range. I think it is up to that. Number of values 6 and your 10 to 1 meg. Brilliant, those saved me, really have saved us there. Right, some mixing going on. There's a whole lot of mixing going on. Okay, mixed and just applied in. Some tape around it, stop it spilling out. I'll leave that overnight, let it cure, then it's just encapsulates it, stops it getting caught and anything. It was very sort of vulnerable to catching things. It's like quite spiky, so that'll just help and secure the cable as well. I say we'll put a 2-pin connector on that so it can unplug. So just a little bit more neatening up, a few more cables gone down there. I've added as well, just for the record, on here an extra plug, 2 cables going to the gearbox, and that is going to be for the vacuum sensor, so that when the engine's under load it drops the lockup out on a simple manually adjustable vac switch, probably from about 6 Hg, maybe 5 Hg to 12 range adjustable vac switch, which we should be able to tee in on the side of the box just down here. You can see there's some vac pipe down there. We'll hopefully put a T on that. Hopefully that's going to be a good enough place. The cable's long enough to bring it up in toward the engine bay, toward the back of the engine, if we had to find a different vac hose connector. As long as it's a ported vacuum source, we're okay. So that's that side of the carburetor, not the air intake side, the ported side in the plenum or the intake manifold. Okay, well, we'll wrap now, and the next job after we break our way from these electronics items, we should be building up these lovely powder coated pedal boxes. We'll save that for the next episode. Put all these back together and check the switches and everything else. We've got a new pedal rubber there. We've got a pedal trim as well for that, so that's going to look nice. Catch you soon. Thanks again. Definitely signing out. It's done. We're out. We're gone. Hasta la vista, baby. Bonjour. Buongiorno. No, that's the wrong way round. No chance. Au revoir. I can say it. Hasta la vista, baby. Well, I definitely got the timing wrong on that, didn't I? We're still on. We haven't cut. I haven't said goodnight. I haven't said goodbye. So I did a little outro thanking everybody, but there was more footage than what I thought, so it's split into 2, therefore what was going to be the end is actually still in the film. So we're jumping onto the pedal box. I'm going to put it back together. Not a lot to it. Pedal rubber's gone on there, brand new one. Cleaned up these components here for the bar, and we're now just going to fit this. A little bit of surface rust on that, but it doesn't worry me. It's totally exposed inside, that's why it's rusted. A little bit of grease just on this, just general purpose on there and on there is where the grease goes. It's the word that you heard. Not a lot needed, of course. That will keep the wolf from the door. So we put, aha, yeah, put that there. Hammer for when things go wrong. Right, spring cloth, grease. It's ready to rock. So we're going to go in. Hold on, that's better on there. Can we remember how the pedal box goes back together? We can indeed, I'm sure. So we're going to go, let me think, we've got to go this way in, coming in this way first. Alrighty, and then we need to go, let me think, spacer next, and then we go washer, then we go pedal itself, and on this side it's washer, and bar all the way through, and then a clip. We can just get the washer in, and then got to engage the bar in this end of the rod. This is pretty much just bread and butter stuff. There it is. You need to knock it. If anything that's too far, across here and we've just got to get, there's a locking pin. Which we use the pliers for. And then we push back after we've done that and lock in the other side with a slide pin. Slide, there'll be a name for it. Grab this, clip this on. Goes there. All you've got to do then is get a slidey holder that goes on that side. We're going to get that, then we've got a spring to fit on the pedal itself that goes up there. Hooks in at the top, goes down, picks up the pedal there. We just have to stretch that in, then we're done really, I think. That's all it is for the pedal box, there's nothing to it. And that is it. Once we've got that clip on the side, I'll go and dig that clip out, it's just over here. That's the clip, refurbed a little bit, just cleaned up and satin black. Slide it on this side. Should be able to get that quite easily. Let's have a look. Nothing to it, is there? Very, very easy. Somewhere in there there's a groove, and it just does a Madonna and it gets into the groove. Like that. That's it. Pedal is locked in, so it's just a question of this spring. Which we grab and lock into the side if we can get it. That's your lock. That's your pedal box. We can put the switches in if we want. They're just here. Cruise control switch. Obviously set that when we're ready in the car. Brake pedal switch. Wherever we want. Set wise, just have to again get it in the car and set this. So the brake lights come on just at the slight touch of the pedal, it's what you want. Bit of powder coat on here is probably going to obscure the whole. We might have to Dremel that out. You tell them to do everything, but they don't cover everything. The powder coated people, they miss stuff. It's hard for them. I think the price they charge them, I'm not going to complain. I don't think that'll go through. Should have put it on before the pedal, because now I've got to pull the pedal back. You done well. Don't think that'll go. Dremel that out. That's not metal, it's just the first layer of powder coat. That's the one. Now how can we get this hold on. And it's still not enough. What a silly person I am doing that. That made life look good. There's no way of getting it. There. Wow, because there's grease on my gloves. Oh, that makes it painful, doesn't it? Can't do it. How annoying. Do it right. Do what you were probably thinking. The Marina Club was telling me that there's a restoration channel. Was it the Marina Club? It's on the Classic Car Guides channel. He said the least people that watch are the people that have the cars. How strange is that? And then the people in the club watch it but don't tell them that they watch it. Thought, oh yeah. They deny watching it, even though they're in the club with the same car, but they deny watching. People are weird. Very weird. Not hard balls. Brake switch, back switch, spring, pedal rubber, just need the pedal trims. I'll put them on last, I don't want to lose them. We've got some nice pedal trims made for this. So that's it. That builds up in minutes. So if you're doing this at home, you've got no problem. Just powder coat, strip down, and put it back together. That's the underneath if you need it for reference. If I've got that wrong, let me know. I think that's right. I can see where we fitted the bracket. I showed you that earlier on for the cruise, and we should be operating. That needs to go in a bit more. You can put a spacer pad on if you have to on that striker plate of the brake pedal itself if the adjustment's not quite enough. Should be though. I think I'd set it quite far down so that you had plenty of adjustment. Yeah, I did. All the way in, gave it all the way there, so we're right now. I think I can just about get it for you on screen. That's it. One pedal box done in minutes. Looks nice too. Now we've got to do the accelerator pedal bracket, and I'm going to start on the heater box. So this video may include the heater box. I'm going to have to upload some of this footage and see how much into the edit I am, and if I'm not too far in, we'll do the heater box as well. Stay with us on Cortina City. We're going great guns. Okay, accelerator next. Bramble's pedal was showing signs of high mileage. Worn. So we can't really use that. The plastic's actually worn down by, it can only be the 90,000 miles we think are on the clock. Must have been on the clock. So I found a second-hand one which is a bit better. In fact, well, it doesn't show anywhere. It's a bit scuffed, so we've just lightly sanded that pedal just there with some 300, bit of 80 and then some 300, and just buffed it back up. I put a little bit of heat on it from the heat gun as well. That just kind of like lifts the colour up a bit out of plastic. So that's that, and now we're going to assemble these. We just had to Dremel out where the powder coating was. I wouldn't have expected the powder coaters to have masked up those holes. So we just insert this in now. These go in, a little bit of grease needed. Let's get the grease. I'm not going to put my gloves on for this because it's actually hard to wipe it off the gloves. 2 little nylon bushes, just general purpose grease on there, just using the cloth to clean myself up when I need to. Slide the, hopefully you can see this just about, slide this up, shift across, slide that in like so. I think it's that way. Is it that way? No, it's not. I'm going from this side. In from this side, don't lock it in yet, you'll see why in a sec. You can push it in, but just don't lock it in. This side in as well. Then I think this one is actually fully out, through, in. You can go into this one if you want, then you can get that side, then you can push in. Whoa! Whoa! This side too. Boom! Nice. Okay, we like that. And we've got 2 little locking pins, and you just turn these. Let's turn these. 13mm turns these beautifully. Oh, these might be tight to turn now because of the powder coating, but I wouldn't have thought so. Let's just try again. The powder coating face may interfere with this. It might not work. I might have to grind the face of the powder coating off on the inside too. Let's see. I don't think we'll get it. No, they won't want to go. We'll have to do the inside face first on both sides, which is a shame. I don't see how else we can get around that. Those bushes won't lock in otherwise, which is a big shame. The only other way we could do it is to enlarge the slot out of the bush. But let's see if I can get you in for this. I'll show you. I use this we'll just have to very a little bit sticky cloth type tape with the need on the wiring harness because it grips better than insulation tape would. I'm just slotting the brushes back in there and then tying them back there like that. So if you don't do this, you haven't got much. Whoa! To the bum, you've lost it. It didn't quite fit that. The other one's gripped. You might have to do a little bit more than that. Again. I just can't see how you'd do it. Another one where you need could heat these up. Good rotation. Might be a bit more forgiving, or I don't think you get the rotation on them. I just don't think we're going to get these. Now that the powder coating is such a tight fit anyway. Once you get the technique, it's not going to want to turn. See, that's the thing with powder coating. A bit more, no matter what pressure. Only hold for so long, I guess. Thickness of this metal on the inside there, it's a croc sander job, okay. It just has to be done. Croc sander on the inside face, here we go. Right, we'll try that again, just sanded down the inner faces. It's a shame but it has to be done, not much else, no real other way around it. In we go. Super fiddly. Let's try again. On we go, slide in. Right, let's get this on. And now will we get the turn locked on. This 13mm a little bit bare at the top, so now what you've got a bit more of the shape of this is tapered, so that spanner's not really gripping the end. That's it. It's just that the spanner, these are a taper there, so the spanner doesn't quite want to get to the end. If you can see, a 14mm might do it. That was a 13, but if you do use a 14, it's going to slip off. You've got to file the inside face, and then it looks like long nose. Before you tell me, you're going to say, boom, wrong. That little bush. When you've got a bit of powder coat, in fact, not even when you powder coat it, just any time that you take it off. We're all right on the outside face, and okay, you're scuffed there, but there's nothing you can do. Right, that doesn't go in too much. Split pin in, one on that side. One for this side. That's that. Oh, clean the inside. Get them the same way round. Whoa! Boom! Get them the same way around. Grip as tightly as you can. Pop in. That is that. So that's that built up. Put on a towel like this. Twist it round. Bring that down there. Cleaned up a little bit. Buffed up. Cleaned up a little bit. That has a chrome pedal trim round it, which gives it even more good looks. So we've got that one, we've got the pedal box as well, those 2 items are done. We've now got across, we've now got a foot operated washer pedal to put on. Right, I've got to find, this is going to be tough.
Good.
This
Pad 3
needs
as well.
the parts, and they're in a bag, and I've got to go and find the bag. I should have it, but organisation level got quite good. Stay on, just stay on, just hear me out on this one. Let's just see, it's possible that they went into here. In theory, on the later
we can now do the tricky bit.
With these trays,
in this goes.
It is possible that I put it all in one compartment in here for that. If not, we're going to dig a bit deeper.
I know. This wasn't on the casing, it goes in first like this. We don't worry about the grease for now.
That I did strip that
and the worm
down
drive.
It wasn't already disintegrated. If I recall, one of the pedals,
look, see how easy
disintegrated.
Life is when you do hold the bushes back that way.
And
now you can take the tape off.
There's a lock I've been looking for. Oh no, it's not the right key for that.
Spin you around
it's sort of a key, but it's
see
not
a bit better. I'm very wary of the screen, folks. But this is a way of doing it. Now the bushes are engaged.
Change that.
We're nice there.
Glove box lid and use this.
We should be
okay. The other key
okay.
I've got a blank key. I'm getting
contact cleaner now.
I'm
just going to jump up and grab the contact cleaner. Run them in on the contact cleaner.
We'll see. We've got a lock there we didn't know we had.
Won't do any harm.
Another accelerator pedal.
Run them in on the contact.
I'm just looking to see if I put the parts for the.
That's it. That's about all you can do. Cleaned out the commutator as well between the windings of it.
No, you've got it.
Now with that on,
I'll
just leave you out of touch now.
So let me switch you off while we go on the hunt.
We can slot this on, that's already lined up. So this goes on, that'll try and grab me.
We also had a new
that's what they do, and it tries to pull it out, which it did.
And
that's the problem. You've got to watch.
Use the knacker ball.
I'm glad you watched that. I think you see me suffering.
Totally
You'll not get them back on now.
Disintegrated, but the nozzle broke off the end, so we can use this because we don't need to activate
the magnets
as a water
pull into the
squeezy anymore.
The armature.
An electric washer pump. So this is a good one to use. It looks the part.
And cause
all
it
it needs to do.
Jump out of your hands. Lovely work. So
we'll
redo. You just saw me
make
a mistake, which will
redo. Away these, leak or split.
Start again.
It can be trouble.
That's quite annoying.
So this one's a good one to use because we're not wasting.
You know, you go to all that effort.
The opportunity of
I should have remembered, to be fair. I forgot.
We can just clear a bit of space.
So this tape will stick as good as it just did.
Very satisfying, folks.
Now that there's evidence of
folks.
PTF and oil around, I think the tape won't grab quite as good. So I say you need patience, big time. Stuff like this can drive you nuts. So I hope that's going to grab. I don't think it will. No, we've lost the adhesion now, so we're knackered. We'll not get them in now. Let's come up with another plan. We'll never get that tape to grip to there.
Round we go. Okay, so clean there, I need to bolt that into there. Has a little plate. Not very well designed really, these. If you've got a Cortina, you'll know exactly what I mean. Press down on the nipple at the top to push the bolt through and just get the bolt in. A little retaining plate is bolted on, 13mm locking bolt there. I'll zoom you in a touch. Easily done, not much to it. Really, that's all there is. Powder puff, off we go. That's on. To break these down, you've got to drill the pin. So I use a split pin then to secure them in the end. That was part of my kit, the split pin there. So now for the tricky bit, we've got to fit this spring. Can't quite remember how it goes. There's a technique now to lock the spring in place and create the action there. We need to screw the switch in. This is a new switch. It has to go in there. 2 screws for the switch. And we've nearly built a nice chromed washer pump. Get this in. This screwdriver's not the best. The daft thing is I've got bloody loads over there in the tray. There's not a lot of torque on these little screws at the back. So we're just rebuilding the washer pump, which in the old days, or not the old days, but an original specification setup would be a bulb, a squeezy bulb that washes your, puts your wiper jets on your screen wash. But we don't use that, we're electric. So we've just got to find a way of securing. Would it be easier to put the spring on with the switch out of the way? Probably, idiot. Now I need to look at one. I've just pinched the bulb off one over here, so we'll see how that spring goes reaching across. This is the one with the knackered bulb. So we can see that the spring comes in there. And somehow, I don't know how they do it. I have no idea how they do that. I really don't know how that works yet. And I've done this twice. No, yeah, I think I've done this twice. There has to be a technique for this. Let's think straight. Ah, yeah, wrap it around itself. So this needs to make a journey round. That'll be fun. There's a way to do it, and I'm trying to think what it is. There is definitely a technique. I would like to know what it is yet. Can you work it out? That's got to go under tension. It's got to wrap round itself. I've done this before. There has to be a way. It's got to come all the way round, or has it? It might not. It might be that when you put this on, that has to pivot through the pin. It'll look nice though, won't it? Just want to get on and get it done. But the city is struggling. I don't think it's like that. It could be something as simple as that. In fact, it might be. No need to struggle. We've got it. We're on. We know how it's done. With the aid of a hook, it just needs a bit of assistance to slide forward. That's it. That's all it was. Not that bad. Let's just get you in. Let's get trying to get the split pin through now. Split pin's decided it wants to open up on its route. I can see the technique that you use. It's just that because I'm using a split pin, it isn't normal. You'd have another like a rivet pin that goes through, but there, you need a tool to reassemble those types. So I'm trying to just adapt it with this split pin, which does work because I've done it before. Let's have a look why we're not going. Fiddly. Split pin's opened out. We'll have to squeeze the split pin back together. It must have got caught on roots. There's no reason why it should work. It could have been the force, the torsion has done something to it, perhaps.
sticking out back in there. Can you see? I'm just checking you can see. Can't see everything, can you? Hold on, I'm going to bring you behind me. Stay on. Stay on. Come over the shoulder now. As the actress said to Bishop, put that in there. Like that. Now then, let's get the split pin on its way before we tension down. This will work, this technique. We're going to try a slightly different method of attack. Hook at the back, start to squeeze, bring that down, push the pin out a touch. More tricky than I expected. Hasn't bent the pin, or has it? Has it opened the pin up again? Has a little bit. I have used pins before. I doubt the pick will have enough force to turn that, but it might do. Right, I've got the spring at the front, I've got the pin there. The problem I get is the second part of the pin then begins to open up and then doesn't like going through. Got it. Right, should be able to. That pin could be do with being a bit longer really. It's not really long enough. He says now, yeah, we need the next size up, but the theory is the same. So we'll just do that again, but with a longer pin this time. Okay, I'm not going to bore you with that. Suffice to say that you normally have a rivet through this. And I'm using split pins. So a larger one. Next. Okay, I think I got it with a better, thicker split pin. So instead of using the funny rivet that they had through there, we've used this quite thick split pin there and reassembled it. So we've got what we need. Now just open the ends of that out and that's it. That's a strip down and re-chroming of the foot pedal. Okay, with that pedal box situation done, turn our attention to the wiper motor. Already been stripped. So we've got an armature. This one looks okay. I'm just looking at the commutator on it. That's this little device here. We're going to get a toothbrush on that. Just give that a 1-2. A do-da-do. I'm going to put all this back together. Let's put it back together again. And then the worm drive there needs some grease getting out of it. That's a little bit more gunky as well. We've got the armature itself. There's a little bearing at the end here. There's a little soak pad for the oil that just sort of holds a bit of oil in it, and it rests on that bearing at the end. That fits in this little cup, which then clips inside this empty housing here. A magnet was loose, so I've rebonded the magnet back in. The brushes and that, we'll worry about them when we get up that end. First thing we've got to do is clean down the actual structure itself and make sure that everything's tickety-boo, which I'm sure it will be. The actual commutator there is clean, no burn marks in it, so I think we're pretty much okay there. But this worm drive's gunky. Let's get in and get the gunk out. If I can't break it down with the solvent and foam cleaner, I'll use thinners. That always destroys the old grease. Is caked in there, as you can see. Cloths coming into their own. Yeah, that is bad. All dried and packed grease on the end of this. But it is going. Plenty on there. That is being a bit stubborn. A little bit of thinners may come into play. I'll leave you running. I'm going to grab some thinners just off screen, simply because that grease can be tricky. So, talking of grease, I'll need some top up grease. We need a glass jar for the thinners to go in. I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm very sensitive to the smell of things. It soon gets to me and makes me feel horrible. Let's see what we can do with this. This will do it. We'll get it back to shiny metal. Always does. The foam solvents, foam cleaner's good, but never breaks down the grease like this thinners can. There we go. A clean worm drive then. I think we can accept that. Don't think thinners does any better on commutators. So really that's the thinners done with for now. Put that out of the way because it's horrible smell. Right, so we're clean there. We just need to lock everything back together. I'm going to move that thinners out of the way. Now we've got to get this back into there. This needs locking back in on these tabs here, which we can do. And a little bit of oil on this. 3-in-1's now what we need for this. So I'm going to go and grab the 3-in-1, a little tub of 3-in-1 oil, and give that some drops just to get it going. So I'll do that now. Hold on. Okay, that is loaded with the 3-in-1 oil. The soaking pads, the soak pad, the sort of oil pad there fixed in, and that bracket fixed in. So we can now slot the armature in. I think I'll just PTF the end of the bearing on there. Don't want to put oil on that one. In it goes. That's it. All I've got to do now is offer it up into the bushes, and then we'll strip this off here as well because it's still mounted to this Brambles rusted up plate. Off it goes. 10 mils on this, and then we've just got to do the tricky job of threading the bushes into the springs. Need some picks and a bit of patience to do it. They do go in. I'll just put the power on before we clean the gearbox up and take the gearbox apart, but before we do that we'll check the motor's running. I want to just make sure it has to be exactly centred between the magnets as well. It must have just, the tolerance on it must be really tight. Okay, so we've got to get this into there, and you have to just hold these back, pinch them back into the springs they go, each one. It can be tricky, so I think I taped them back last time. I've done this twice, and again I've forgotten the technique. There is one, probably have to take the gloves off for this. There's one sliding in. I think I pinned them back on the brush tie, if I recall. So pin all three of those back and slot the motor together, and some clips that hold it in. I'll just put some quick bit of power on this, so that's going back into the wiper motor then, and then when we've done that we'll clean the casing up, and then we'll take the lid off the gearbox, and that'll need cleaning as well. There's some grease in there that'll be all dry, and there's some contacts in there which we can clean up. So leave this with me while what I'm going to do, I'm going to lock each brush back into its casing, then snap it together. Okay, leave it with me. Just for your aid and assistance, there's another way you can do it with croc clips. So we're doing the croc clips now, and back in again we go after we messed up. So we messed up, but we're back in again. Croc clips off, they hold the brushes back, tape or croc clips, and do not let the magnets now pull this out. So we've got to work out a way, really, we need to take the gearbox off, really, so we can grab the end of the shaft here, then it won't pull out when I put the magnets on, the casing with the magnets in it. It's the only way you can do it, I think. Let's whiz the lid off and have a look. Otherwise it's always going to shove back. Although you could, if there's a hole in the end of this casing, you could insert a long screwdriver through it, I suppose, but even then it's going to try and pull back. So we'll have to take the gearbox casing off. I did manage it, just put a rod through the end there and held it in place, so I didn't have to take the gearbox casing off. So just the clips on there now, and we're ready. Well, obviously we're going to clean all this up, sorry you're just off screen. Just the clip, there's some clips on there now, I'll get them out of the galvin case. Stick some power on it and just see that we're still in the game. And then we're off, we're good to go. Continuing on with this build, slightly in the wrong order. Don't do this at home, this is finished straight on. I've got some Jizer degreaser, but it does not cut through the gunk the same way as that finish does, especially on alley. This is particularly gunked up. I took it apart to clean it. Well, remember we messed up with the brushes there. So before I reassemble it, I'm just going to clean it now. Just 'cause it's easy to manoeuvre in my hand, really, more than anything else. So just cleaning the head. Obviously, when it's all back together and then brushes are back in, we shall be investigating the gearbox on it. So leave this with me to get it nice and clean. It'll come up. Want to get that, because it's alley, there won't be any corrosion on it as such, like rust spots. It should just come up, maybe discoloured, but at least uniformly clean. So give me a few minutes, we'll get this clean. We'll get this wiper motor back together and running smooth. I investigated some spares as well while we're on. I had a little box of wiper spares and I found one marked up faulty. A wiper motor marked up faulty, so I took it to bits, and the magnet had cracked inside the casing on that one. It was still running, but you could hear it hitting this. I thought, that sounds a really rough motor. That must have been why it was off the car. And I would have had that probably from going back to the early 90s. Check it out. And in them days I didn't take stuff apart like I do now. So an old motor from probably a Mark V Cortina. And yeah, I've had that since I was in my 20s. And I would have kept it, but marked it up, broke. There you go. Guys and girls, we're getting cleaner all the time. We are getting cleaner all the time. A little bit of combo. IPA solvent, gt85, thinners. Yes, all sorts to clean our head. And I share a little revelation that I've had during my time here. I'm going to share a little revelation that I had. Have you ever looked at it, marveled at its wonder, Mr. Anderson? You ever stared at it, wondered at its beauty, Mr. Anderson? Mr. Anderson. I'm going to share a little revelation that I've had during my time here. I can't stand it. It's the smell. I can't stand it. I feel like somehow I've been infected by it. There is one other organism, Mr. Anderson. I actually got that wrong because he's not talking to Mr. Anderson. That's the Matrix. He's not talking to Mr. Anderson at that point. Have you ever marveled at it? Wonder? There is one other organism. It's similar to you human beings, Mr. Anderson. Do you know what it is? A virus, Mr. Anderson. A virus. Cracking up. It's the fumes. You make me crack up. Okay, virus, Mr. Anderson. I need that key. I must get out of here. I must get the key to Zion. Inside your head is the key. No. I'm going to share a little revolution that I've had during my time here. If you don't know what I'm on about, it's Hugo Weaving. He's an actor in the Matrix. If I have to explain it, I haven't done very well. That gives a nice kind of like back to basics alloy finish when you just do a bit of a combo move with the old Thinners IPA and spray foam. We'll keep on going. With the mega mucky bits done on the floor, we can now just finish off. We've got some special stuff from Paul. Metal degrease and clean. We're almost done. A little bit of compressed air to close the show on this cleaning job. We've got all sorts of different cleaning materials, but really metal degreaser, metal clean was good too. I just recently remembered to take Paul up on his offer. Thanks for that. Hello to Detroit as well. Kevin's out there in Detroit at the moment. He's watching on his in his man cave. Wow. Oh wow. Okay. So I didn't want to really do the heavy stuff on the workbench here, just on the floor with cardboard laid down. The cardboard just soaks everything up, then you just chuck the cardboard sheet away. I like doing it that way. Also, cardboard's soft to work on, and you just chuck it, and it was due for recycling anyway, so we've made use of it. If you ever put cloths down, you've got to clean the cloths, you've got to use energy to clean the cloths, you've got to stick them back in the washer, but the cardboard goes for crushing. Hopefully the cardboard's still recyclable with the contaminants on it. If it isn't, then I apologise for that. It'll probably end up in landfill, but we don't want, that's a dirty word, very dirty word, landfill. We don't want that. Fully recyclable is what we need. Reduced amounts of plastics. Goodbye nozzles. Wouldn't like to be in the plastic industry right now. Okay, just checking that you're still on screen. Right, okay. Easier to work. The metal clean does very well for just finalising and cleaning the rest of the gunk off the armature, off the yoke. Just check between those, the commutator lines are clean, just bristles for those. We covered this just before, but because I messed up when I put the magnetic casing on, it pulled the everything apart. I thought, well, I'll just double check, and I thought, well, I can actually get that a bit cleaner. This stuff from Paul, Metal Clean, very nicely works on the yoke. Just the last little bits. So now I shall reassemble this, taking note to put the grease in the right points, and make sure everything's lubricated up. A little bit of light grease at the bottom of this and inside that top, and then that's cleaned back quite nice. So we'll put it all back together again. Now I just thought, I'll clean all that back now. It's a blessing in disguise that it went wrong, because I thought, yeah, easier to clean it without the casing on. So here we go, motor, wiper, motor, going back together now. And then we'll check this gearbox here, look, and we'll see, we'll take it all apart. I know it's going to mess it up again, but it's not going to be completely mucky. I don't know how these get so dirty, these, but they just do. Let's have a look at this. Interestingly, excuse me again, interestingly that one was loose. Quite clean, to be fair. Contact pad, contact to ring. Now that is your switch ring, so that it can self-park. That rotates round and makes contact with these, which supplies the current to the motor via a circuit. This wheel will pop out. It's not fixed in any particular position relative to the motor, it's relative to the nut at the end there, which turns the crank arm, so you can't really get that wrong. I think it just pops out with that nut and wash it off. Should do. Just thinking if there's anything else there, I'd imagine that'll just knock out. Because we want to get in the back and just clean that wheel up, so I need to just lightly tap that out. I think they just knock out. It's just a bushing, that's all. Brass line probably. Good old interference fit that, to be fair. Woo! Yeah. So this one's actually in quite good order. It's the best I've ever seen, actually. Whilst I hit the camera again. The grease has actually survived. That's the first time. Well, it's gone in the corner, but that is the first time. You can see the hardened grease just there. Starts to go, you see. But we'll have to take all this out because it's old grease. But that's the best one I've seen. That's how they assembled it, a blob of grease in there and then it just picked up. It's actually not really done much, that. And normally would carry right the way round, and here's been operating quite dry. If you go in, that's your worm drive. We've actually been operating quite dry there. Light overhead. That's actually been a dry operation into that. So this one was actually not really greased the best it could ghee. Ghee? That's blooming curry. I want some ghee. Get some ghee. Give me some ghee. Ghee. What is ghee? What's ghee? Ghee. Yeah, that was not really effectively very greased. There's so nothing to do there except switch contact cleaner. What an easy job we've got. Just wipe out the old grease there, hit it with an hammer, no, wipe out the old grease there, just a little bit of light oil on that bushing, and then that's it. Clean the inside of the casing. Then contactor wipers look quite nice. Oh yeah, they are very nice, look at them. You'll probably find that most of these survive quite well. So it's not drawn any heavy current, it's not been parked and shorting out. These don't show signs of overheating. So we're done there. Clean out, clean inside, as clean as I've ever seen, but looks like that grease did not make contact on this factory job. They've blobbed it and it just hasn't made it onto the worm drive like it should. So that's been actually running dry, which does that tell us that it's going to be a bad cog here. Let's have a look under the magnifier to see if there's any signs of it's destroying the teeth. I mean, there isn't any broken down plastic. I think we're going to be okay. Let's get that cleaned up and put back together. Little bit of gt85 just on the shaft, just to help us go back home. Now then, we've got that, so all we're going to do is grease up. They put a blob there like that, look, that's what they did. Boom! That's all they did. That was it. And that blob that they put on never seemed to go anywhere on this particular motor. It just didn't grab it. Anyway, we're in. And then of course when the worm drive comes in this side, it's supposed to engage with a little bit of I want a two a buckle on my shoe, and it doesn't. The face of it will be done, but we haven't got any in that worm drive, so I believe you put it in there like that. Screw it backwards if we want. That's really it. You don't really want it on there because that's just pure copper faced, so really we are just there and that is it. No more, no less. Okay, checking you can still see. Yes you can. This inside can just be cleaned, but be careful not to touch the contactors. They won't need anything at all except a little bit of contact cleaner. Quite good fun doing the wiper motor rebuild. We don't want to catch those with a cloth. Paper's your friend in this situation. That's all really it needs. You will get, yeah, there's some light dirt on those, but that's all you need. Nothing else, that's it for them. That's it for that contact plate. As I say, when you put your cloth on there, watch you don't draw back and affect the tension of those wipers. They're wipers within a wiper. Electrical wipers within a wiper. Right, that face is cleaned with contact cleaner. I've already done it, but I'm not going to have a problem there. All it does, it's quite simple this. And if my leg hits that tripod and the peak of my cap hits that peak of my cap hits that peak of my, can't go backwards. The peak of my cap hits that lamp one more time and my foot hits a tripod base, I'm going to crack up. All it does, two contacts just creates a circuit between there, and then there's a dead zone adjuster here which makes it park. It lands as long as it's not going too quick. Sometimes they can jump, but they've set it so they can't. Those two contacts get broke by that segment that's out there. That's all it is, just a switch. It's also the top two contacts of the switch, by the way. The third contact earths the body of the motor. So when you're looking at your windscreen wiper motor and you ever wondered what these were, they're not the power to the motor, just two contacts that are most of the time closed. They're open when it is in the park position, when it hits that segment, and that tag simply earths the motor chassis. That's all that's happening with those. So you're ever wondering how to just test a motor, don't worry about going there. It's ground to the case to test your motor. Ground in the case, fast speed and slow speed, or it could be the other way around. A green and a red inside is for one of the coil windings, and the other one is for the, well, say the fast coil winding and the slow coil winding. So they're your speeds, not positive and negative. You've not got very far by putting positive and negative on here. A common mistake people make. Earth the frame, slow and fast motor wires, that's it. And if you took them via the park switch, you would get it to actually park itself. So I'm going to wind that back out for now. I'm going to place this contacting cover back on, and we're going to bolt that back up. Now then, we've got some mucky screws here. I don't think that my galvanizing kit would have had those type of screws in it, because I never stripped the motor down and sent them off. That's a shame, that. That is a shame. We've gone all that way and then we've got this. I'm just going to have to sat in these, I'm afraid. Right, let me clean these 3 screws up. I'll have a look anyway, but I very much doubt that unless something else used these similar screws. I just don't want to put mucky screws back in this. It's not a deal breaker, but I've got the opportunity. Let's go and see what we can do. They actually weren't that bad. I didn't have any. They're still black anodised actually. It's only the shaft bit that was a little bit rusty, but that's gone. So we're okay actually. Panic's over with those. I'll get in there now. Noting that this has got a 72 code on it, this motor, and so's all the others I've got. Never seen one with a 71 code, but one must exist. This must have been fitted, made almost the same day the car rolled out. I'm sure mine came out late 71. I don't know how the hell that works. I've never seen a 71 marked up wiper motor. So how did it get onto the car? And it is off the car. So I wonder if it had a new motor in its life. Never seen one. I've just looked at 3 different wiper motors that I've got here, and they're all, look, I'll show you, they're all 72. I don't get it, I don't understand it. 72. And the other one I've got 72. Yeah, I've been getting these off 71 vehicles. Work that out. I do not understand. Now let me just think. Cortina come out October 70. Bramble was built midway through 71. So they couldn't have had that motor fitted on that day. The only explanation is that it has had a new wiper motor. Okay. Leave that with me. Okay, here we are, look. Which begs the question, the philosophical question. Let's talk about this for a second. Which bits of your car are original? How much do you take away before it isn't the car anymore? Because often you get that. Oh, that's not the same car now. What is? Are you the same person? Your body regenerates every 7 years. You're not the same person. I don't know. What do you reckon? To me, it's more the spirit and the essence of the car. You know, this is the Trigger's Broom conundrum, and often you get this: how much do you replace before the whole car's gone? I like to think the engine, running gear, and chassis is always a good thing to try and maintain. For something like this, would be replaced as a service part over the car's life. So how is it? You could argue that it's more original that you've got. It's more original that you've got an original thing that's happened to the car. Yes, originally Ford swapped the wiper motor out and replaced it because it burnt out. So I've got the original replacement, non-original wiper motor. So where'd you go with this? It's like your car that you drive now. There's 20,000 people out there watching. You know, let's say the worst case scenario, half of you have got cars. So that's 10,000 vehicles, and some of you might have more than one. So 10,000 vehicles, have they all had starter motors, new batteries, wiper motors, or what? Replaced on the car? Well, it's not the same car anymore. So at what point do you say that isn't the same car? Where do you draw the line about this?
You know, it's an interesting one because you do get asked from time to time, oh, we've changed this is not the same car anymore. It's absolute rubbish. It's absolutely impossible. You could never have the same car. You might talk about that with the body shell. And then again, if a car has an accident and you lose a quarter, a door skin and a wing, then it's not the same car anymore, because 5% of it, or 10%, whatever that metalwork represents, probably maybe more, maybe 20%, 18%. Oh, it's not the same car anymore. You've lost 18% of your original pounds because of that car accident. It isn't. It's about it as a whole object that constantly evolves. The base being the reg plate and the model and the spec of the car and what it represents. That's how I see it. Anyway, you know. So there you go. Bramble must have had a new wiper motor because this is in the future of the car. So unless Bramble was built in 72, can you have a K on a 72? I think you can. Let me think about this. August. Would August... Hold on. Can anyone answer? Because I'm... Let me Google car registry. Can you have 72K? I think you can have 72K. 71... August 71 is K coming out, isn't it? Yeah, because J. So, yeah, you can have K72. Therefore, it's possible that my manufacturing date of the car is falling within that zone, probably. It does make sense because it's a series 1.5 car. So yeah, maybe that is the original one. It's just I've never seen a 71 one. Anyway, that's enough of that rubbish. Let's just finish off here now. We've got another bearing just at the end. And then really that's it. We can put it all back together. There's nothing else to do. I'm going to now slot this back into the housing, clip everything together, and then we should be running. We'll give it a test. Line you up, get your bushes. Brushes, bushes, brushes. Carbon, spring loaded. Already covered this, of course, in the failed attempt. Hang on, this one's just failed too. When you're doing one, you've got to be careful not to knock the other. If you're doing the non-tape version, which I am doing. This one's a bit harder because it won't reach. I'll use gravity for that one. This is where the word patience comes in, folks. Don't grip these too hard, they're very fragile. They can tend to crack.
As you can see, it's a tricky affair. And you're not taping them. Well, so it's only because of these crop clips. Just one crop clip short this side now. That's it, crop clips to the rescue. That gets your bushes in. They all seem to be landing on it okay. Pivoting alright there. So that end of the motor's good. There we are, starting to take shape. We can put the casing on now, remembering to push down on the casing. Little ball bearing at the end. That's greased and that's on. We're going to hold the casing with a push rod through it, because otherwise it will try and pull this out. We can't really grip the worm wheel. We could do, I suppose. Why did I put the case back on? Yeah, because it will still pull out. You'd think that it locked into that gear would stop that from pulling out, but it doesn't. What's the best way to do it? Casing off and hold the worm drive, I reckon. It's just not as fiddly as poking the screwdriver through the end of the casing. Should have just left this off, shouldn't I? I ain't perfect. Right. Yes. We just need to hold that. We don't want that going off up there, so what can I find to lock it in? What's good to lock that in? I don't know really. Something. Just to stop it withdrawing. That seems to work. Okay, here's the moment of truth. I think that's it. We've just got to get that to land on its tabs. Is it on its tabs? That tab's on. Looks like it. Right. Take that off. Tap this together. Like that. That's it. Now get the securing clips on. And we should be able to test this unit. This bad boy. Clips then. Now they can be fun. Let's get the clips. Here they are. These were replated, so they're nice over there like this. Then you push them down. I will not be able to do this with my own grip as such. They need sort of compressing. Can you see these? You're never really gonna. You can either tighten something around them or push down on them. We could push down on them, but I don't think I'll do it on screen. No, you'll not get that. That's very ambitious. And you'll not squeeze them together, I wouldn't have thought. That's just too much, it's not worth hurting yourself. We've got to find a way of pushing these clips back over there. There will be a way of doing this. Something needs to come, a G-clamp needs to come in and spring them together. You could just knock it. If you're on a desert island, you'd be hitting it, I suppose. I don't think there's any other angle you can get it at. This one might go. Whoa! Stop that! This one might go. Oh, if you don't get that. Blooming heck. Let's just make sure the case is, yeah, it is fully in. There's a little line of the casing. It's not as parallel. Oh, it's closing up. Yeah, it's just a raised part. I can see there's a sort of nib, but the casing does come down to accommodate it. I don't think there's anywhere else you can go with that. So let's make sure we are the right way. Could the casing be 180 out? No, because it has this tab here. I think it's just a question of really giving it your best shot. As Pat Benatar said, I think it was Pat Benatar, hit me with your best shot, or was it Sheena Easton? Might have been Sheena Easton. Could you do that perhaps? I'm just going to recoil if I do that though, I'm going to go all over the place. I can't see this working either. I can see a lot of recoil action going on. This isn't nice. Yeah, that gets it, but I must admit I don't like that technique at all. But it does get it. I don't think it's the best way. Will this all work? Will it work? I don't like this. Well, don't do it then. It's painful sometimes. One more to go. Looking nice already. One more to go. Around the back. One more. Get the grease off that. This one will be a bit better because it's a bit more secure now. So okay, I can do this one. Hit me with your best shot, Pat. Right, clips are in. Clips are clean, clips are in. Motor's on. Cover back on. Let's test it. You could actually run it without the cover, but it's time to put everything back together. Let's get together again, as Gary said. Right. Hello, Key, the Human League. We have reassembled the motor. Looking quite nice, I must say. What do you reckon? Let's test it. And that is that. We are up and running and smooth. We're on the full speed. Going down to half speed. Gotta say, I think the armatures aren't as balanced as they could be. You get a little bit of vibration on them. I'm just varying the voltage, but you can put it on the other winding if you want. Here's the other winding, slower winding. Whoops, clip off. Slower winding. Tends to jump. Hold on, camera gonna go there. You can hear a sort of click. That's when them electrical contact wipers make that quadrant of no contact metal. So it just make its own little rhythm. That is that. Let's put it in its housing now. I did find one more wiper motor, by the way. The one that was already connected into the loom, the one I've been looking for. And here is that other elusive wiper motor that I knew I had, that idiot here forgot he'd left connected into the loom. 72 BB again on the code. So they're all 72 wiper motors. Well, with everything tested and a rubber grommet inserted, as a rubber grommet just goes inside this metal plate. That's the powder coated plate. We've stamped up Motorcraft on the side with a rubber stamp we've got. That goes in there, and then just bring these new galvanised bolts. We did have some. And it's coffee time. Santori time. Every time, Santori time. Santori time. The hell's he going on about? Another film quote. I doubt anyone will get that one. Make it Santori time. Make it Santori. Lick my stockings. You'll never get it. I don't know. There could be some real film buffs out there who do get that. Let's do it. Make it. Santori time. And guess what else we're going to make it? Walnut blooming whip. Everyone's been asking, where's the root beer? What's in the cup? Root beer. Another film quote. What's in the cup? Root beer. An obscure gangster film, American, with the name of a US city in it. What's in the cup? Root beer. Look at this, walnut whip. Now then, with the root beer, people went out buying root beer. It's definitely a Marmite situation, love or hate it. I love it nice and cold in the summertime. For now, it's black coffee in a paper cup and a walnut whip which you can't dunk. Where's the Eccles cakes? Well, you know, they'll be round soon. A walnut whip. Now, have these been out since the 1950s? Do you want to check that? Made by Nestle. Preferred the old packaging. This is that new type foil type pack which we've had since the early 90s. Keeps it fresher, aluminium lined, but an original walnut whip wouldn't have been. Of course, you get your Brazilian nut on top there. Nice Brazilian nut on the walnut whip. I wonder why they call them walnut whips though. Why not Brazilian whip? You know? Just kidding. It's a walnut. Do. Can you dunk? You want to dunk? Let's try it. Let's try that. Go on. It worked. Because you get coffee and walnut go together. They always have. So you dump the top bit and then you can go down on the rest. As the actress said to Bishop. Although I must admit, if that would be no, I couldn't really make a crude joke there. We're not going to. Again, similar actions can be performed on Cadbury's cream eggs. They always tried to copy the cream egg of rival confectionery companies, but no one's ever done it. Galaxy egg, various other eggs, but you just can't beat the cream egg. You're never going to be able to do it. Once you've invented the cream egg, that's it forever, you know. You can't reinvent it. It's the same with a walnut whip. It's there, that's it, it's done. You can't perfect it. Although, other than the packaging, which I don't like, too lightweight. Is it recyclable? Actually, are they onto it? Come on. It's a large item, or is it biodegradable at least? Doesn't say. This cup. Walnut whips can't be copied. It's a walnut whip and that's it. If it had a thin strip down the side, it'd be a Brazilian whip. A landing strip. Brazilian whip. Get it? Cream egg. Can't be done. Twix will never be copied. Although Drifter have a go at Twix and Drifter, the same company. Try and think now. I'm sure Drifter is Nestle. Twix is Nestle Twix as well? Or is it Mars? I think no. Twix is Mars company. Nestle is Drifter. Drifter isn't a bad attempt at copying Twix, to be fair. And Drifters are in a league of their own. You'll never beat Twix, and of course Mars, you'll never do it, no matter what you do. Your B&M copy Mars bars, just don't cut the mustard, although I wouldn't recommend putting them in mustard. What else? While we're on Bounty, never copy that. They've tried, can't be done. Those staple confectionery items that reach the zenith or the zenith. Zenith if you want to be American, zenith if you want to be us. once you've got your sort of base range of confectionery items, you tend to have you can't reinvent the wheel, you've done it and that's it, there's nothing else you can do. And they try and bring out, remember when they brought the Whisper out as the new greatest thing, Whisper bar, but it didn't catch on, did it? It just didn't work, all them micro bubbles, just aero, it's got the bubbles and you're done really. They've never really come out with anything recently that I can see, unless it's because as you get older you lose interest in such things. Those staple items, there's probably 20 staple confectionery childhood items that are still around. That's the thing, they've not gone. I mean, yeah, you can say Pacers and you can say Spangles aren't here anymore, of course. They just didn't have the longevity, but Mars stood the test of time. Mars and Nestle, they stood the test of time. Okay, small amounts, unless you're exercising hard. What's the calorific intake of this? They're very clever how they do these, because they'll do them per gram and then you've got to go and calculate it out. I would estimate it's going to be around 150 to 200. I can't see. Just give me it easy. Don't mess. Oh, here we are. It's right in the front. 148 kilocalories. Okay, 7% of your recommended daily intake. So 148 calories would take about 4 kilometres of hard running to burn that off. So you can go to the gym, try and lose weight, eat one of these and waste half an hour doing a 4k run. So you've got to think about this. That said, your body needs a certain amount of calories. Sugar are empty calories though. They don't make you feel full as such. Let's talk about this. It's done now and we can put it away. We just need the plastic cover for it, but we can get that when we fit it to the car. I think we'll all agree that we're done, and that can go alongside the pedal box and the accelerator that we've just done in bubble wrap. Well, some tissue first. Bubble wrap tends to make little imprints, so it shouldn't do on powder coat, but it can do. It should be alright in bubble wrap, to be fair. I think we're going a bit too far. Don't forget to put the washers back on it for when you come to fit it, and its little securing nuts. Curiously need plating, those. The reason why they didn't get plated is because, to stop me from losing all the parts, I bolted all back onto the wiper. It didn't go in the galv box. It's annoying. Well, you can't have perfection, it doesn't exist. And if it does, I want to know about it. I'll catch you in a sec when I move on to the heater box. Exciting times, it's heater box time, guys, girls, YouTubers and patrons. It's heater box time, forget all that. We've had our tea break, we've had a little ramble. They're very popular. When the car's done, do you want me to carry on with the channel? Answers on a postcard, please. Should I keep Patreon going? Should I keep YouTube going when this is done? I mean, we have got the chance of a couple of other cars. There's TC to do, there's a chance of a 2 litre E, which I've always wanted to do, and there's a chance of another estate car making it into a GXL. These are the possibilities. TC won't go to GXL, it's too rare, but I did think about that. And there's this other car, the 2 litre E. There's other cars out there we know about. Just whether we want to carry on with those, we'll have to see. Heater box.